Here's a story about why getting beaten up as a kid maybe wasn't the worst thing ever. And I think this is a really important story if you're a parent, because no matter how hard we try, we're not going to see every curveball. And maybe that's okay, because the hardest times can give us meaning and purpose. And life is a journey, and a kid has to journey. And before I share the story, I have to say that I grew up in a wonderful, loving household, and I'm super close to my parents and my brother, and they're beautiful people. So here's the story. From age 6 to 9, I was pretty aggressively physically abused by a tutor who was supposed to be helping me do better in school because I wasn't doing so well in school. I was struggling specifically with Chinese, so my parents got me some help, and I would go see this guy when they were at work. And on a weekly basis for 3 years, I was thrown into cabinets and thrown into walls and beat with sticks and hands and dragged around the room by my hair, by my ear, by my shirt. And he used to do this thing with his large hands where he'd wrap his hand over my tiny hand and crush my fingers and then twist my arm and threaten to break it, and telling me that he'll break it if I don't shut up or behave or whatever. I was a rowdy kid, it was not easy to deal with, and he obviously thought I wasn't trying hard enough and I needed to be disciplined. And I don't really know why I didn't make it known to my parents sooner. I don't know why I didn't make it more obvious. It seems like a logical thing to do, but they had no idea. And I guess I was also a rough and tumble boy, so it wouldn't be surprising for a boy who plays sports and stuff to have bruises or whatever, right? But then when I was around 9 years old, my mother saw these hand marks and bruises all over my legs, like all up and down both my legs. And rightfully so, she was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "I know, right? This guy." And obviously then I never saw the guy again. And thankfully, with all the love and support of my family, I still had an amazing childhood. But I remember at age 9, feeling this really deep feeling inside me where I told myself I will never let myself feel powerless like that ever again. And then at age 14, an errant vice principal at my school conducted himself in a inappropriate way over several months. I don't really know how to categorize it, but he used to make a few of us, like bad kids, stand in a line outside class or in the hall because our school uniform wasn't up to scratch. And I remember he would stand in front of me and look me dead in the eye and help me tuck my shirt in really slowly, like with the eye contact, just tuck my shirt in for me. And because it was made very obvious that I had done something wrong and I was in trouble, and because I was just 14 years old, I just stood there and I felt like I couldn't push him away or call him a creep or tell him to fuck off. I felt like I had to stand there and take it, even though it made me so uncomfortable that this grown man was tucking my shirt in for me. I had no idea what to do. And he would also do other creepy shit like touch your hair and whatever, like make sure your shirt is neat and sort of like tidy it up for you and like hang out a little bit too long. And then one day it got too much and I had my first encounter with what I later as an adult realized was a panic attack. A science teacher who I really trusted saw it happening. He saw me melting down after one of these shirt tucking incidents. And he really, really quickly rushed me to the school chapel where it was quiet, and he helped me through it, which I will forever be thankful for. And I was a fucking mess. I was crying, I was screaming, I couldn't use words. I remember that. Like I was trying to describe to him what was going on, what I felt, and I couldn't use words. It was just like, ugh. But he helped me through it. And 21 years later, I reconnected with this teacher on LinkedIn. And he told me that he was disgusted and outraged by the vice principal's abuse of power and that he will never forget the incident. And he told me that one thing he never quite understood was that I was adamant about not letting anyone else know about the episode. And thankfully, he followed procedure and told the right people about what had been going on, and that vice principal was gone the following year. But to this day, I still don't really know why I didn't want anyone to know about it. Embarrassment, maybe? I don't know. But check this out. In hindsight, these two traumatic experiences led to some of the most important decisions of my life. It's led to some of the greatest adventures of my life. Since before I had the words to describe it, at like 9 years old, I've been on a bit of a mission to help people feel empowered, to help them feel strong and like they can get through things and that they will be okay. And because of these incidents, I learned to make myself physically stronger. I got into martial arts and I got my first degree in psychology because I was trying to deal with my own shit. And then I got my master's in strength and conditioning, which is like exercise science plus coaching for high-level athletes. And I did all that because I believed so much in the power of exercise as an anchor habit that pushes us to change in all kinds of positive ways. It led me to start 2 businesses in wellness and fitness, so I could help people learn these skills of self-care and resilience. And it's been great because I had this sense of purpose that was forged from really hard times. These experiences have been so rich in relationships and values and heart. And it's still in play now at a really deep level. I just want to help people feel stronger, like they can get through stuff, like they're super resilient and you just need to learn a set of tools and you can get through a lot, and that they have agency and that I got their back and that we can choose how we respond to suffering. Like, I deeply believe this stuff. And don't get me wrong, the path was super messy. I got in a lot of fights during one of those phases. I got lots of tattoos just in case people didn't know I was tough. That's why I got in fights too. I used to be the aggressor just in case people didn't know they shouldn't mess with me. So there was a lot of mess and it was super difficult to navigate, and I hurt a lot of people and I made a lot of mistakes, and I've spent a lot of years in adulthood trying to make amends with people that I didn't treat so well. But these 2 traumatic incidents, they turned out to be some of the greatest gifts that life ever gave me. And I hope this helps you frame your suffering, because yes, you have been through a lot, but the story isn't over. There's a lot more that can be written, and you do have the agency to write, and you do have the agency to turn this suffering into something that at least you feel was worthwhile. You can turn this into something that changes the course of your life for the better. And I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but I hope this story brings you peace. Peace.